left speechless when I had that, like they had a DVR, so I paused it and I just rewound it and I watched it all over again the first time around. And I knew I had something because everything he said just kind of hit home for me. What he's talking about, work, my search for a life that matters. We define ourselves through our work sometimes, and we want to be happy with our work, and that's what he's talking about. Stories of people who forgot about the other things that we hear, why you need to get a job or why you need to do things you want to do, money, power, all this other stuff. So happiness is the main thing you want to look for. Finding your drive, what really pushes you and drives you. And why are we passionate about things? And how do we get to places where we're doing our work and we're happy and passionate about it? What was the thing he said? When your greatest gifts align with the greatest needs, the greatest strengths fit in with what society needs, and what that place needs, that's a good fit. They're happy, you're happy. So tonight I want to accomplish a couple of things. I want to bring some big concept type stuff to you, big picture type things through the use of that interview, and kind of make you aware of your story, how you're finding your drive, your passion, what you're doing here at UT, and what's guiding you toward afterward. What are you going to do afterward? The way I want to do that tonight is share with you some of my story, my personal experiences that happened especially during my childhood, my education years, primary school, high school, and my college years, and where my path took me after college, because it was unexpected. It didn't go the way I thought it would, but I want to explain all that from where I grew up and what I went through in my life to end up how I got to standing right in front of you right now, here, doing the job that I'm doing the work that I'm doing. So hopefully we can bring awareness to the things that I want you to keep an eye out for as you write your story right now. Your narrative has already begun. Back home, when you were born as a child, your education, the people there when you're alive, you're writing your story right now. And you've introduced certain characters to it. And you've had some plot twists and things like that too, unexpected things. So that's going to happen. The reason why I like story and the power of the story is because we can all relate to it in one way or another. I love movies. I love movies. Filmmaking, if I could get into filmmaking somehow, some way, if I could be an actor, I would. That's my dream job. One of my dream jobs. I have several. And I like that because I like to reflect those experiences that they go through the story against my own. And it tells me something. It teaches me something about myself as well. And about broad concepts like ethics or decision making and leadership. So I'm going to go ahead and try and share with you some of the things that I can tie in about my story, and maybe it can relate to you. I wanted to try and do this early in the fall semester. Last year I did it during the spring semester, and I had a lot more people find commonalities. It's like, I didn't know this, or I didn't know that. So maybe we can start that dialogue. I know I've already met with some of you, and I have a required assignment on our Canvas course to meet. But now we may have some commonalities between ourselves. And we have already discovered a few with the few students that I've met with already, so you'd be surprised. All right. So what's your story? Purpose, passion, and drive. So Wes Moore, I have yet to read his book. This interview came out when I already started graduate school, so forget books. I just have my class work to do. I'm even behind on movies, which is kind of sad. So. But I want you to try and pay attention to your story as you go through life. Because what he's talking about is how people were able to find their inspiration to do what they do. And this is what I want to explain to you regarding myself right now. Does anybody know what the term Temet Noske means? Anyone? Been in a movie called The Matrix? When the Oracle brings Neo in to meet with him, she points him to a sign right above the door. And she says, you know what that sign means? It means know thyself. Your story can help you discover things about yourself a little bit better. It's a good self-reflective exercise. And you know ULM is all about self-reflection, metacognition, things like that. So pay attention to your story. It's going to be very important to you. It provides, our experiences are going to be shaping who we are. The things that we go through, all the challenges, the setbacks, those successful moments, they all start determining your personality, your interests, your passions, things like that. It also provides perspective and understanding. The things that you're going to go through UT this semester, next semester, the 4 years that you're on this campus, you're going to be experiencing a lot of different things, meeting lots of different people. Some of it's going to be good, some of it's going to be bad, but you can take something from both of them. Don't forget that. Don't forget these experiences. You can learn from mistakes too. Hindsight is very important. You want to be able to look back and reflect. It's like, okay, where did I pick up that bad habit? Or I remember the first day you and I met and we fell in love. Or I remember the first time our friendship went sour. You go back and you look at these moments in time and you kind of see, okay, what was happening there? What was going on there? The why. You got to ask yourself the why. A couple of things you want to be careful of as you're going through your experiences. What are your indicators of success? Where do you get that validation from? Is it from external sources? College says you need this GPA. Your parents say you need to do this. A little angel, a little devil, you know? Actually, that's a little different. But you want to be careful as far as, are you measuring your success against those validating points? Or does it come inside? Is it your gut, your heart, your mind? Are these the things that are telling you, yeah, you did a good job. Yeah, you should have done that. That was good. These are the things you need to start being mindful of. Where is this coming from? Why did I decide that? I was like, I'm glad I decided that. Why? You start thinking about these moments and how you make the decisions you do. You're going to hear a little bit about how I had to deliberate on risk versus adventure. And in the pre-lecture, you saw me throw the two Hobbit videos up there, one with Bilbo. Finally woke up, had to think about what I'm going to sign this contract. Finally, your son running down the Shire, going on an adventure. That's me. I usually like an adventure. I like to take some chances and go out there. Yeah, I'll do that. Sure, why not? But you got to be careful about risk. You need to be mindful of that. You always want to. You see something that's very attractive that you want to do, some place you want to go, someone you want to hang out with. But you got to take a look as far as, okay, how could this not benefit me? How could this hurt me? How could this put me in a dangerous situation? And we go, party late at night or something, get in a car or something, and walk down there at 2 o'clock in the morning. Risk versus adventure. These are the types of decisions you need to start thinking about. Judgments. This one's important for me. I'm a big proponent of not judging. That's not our place. We can try to understand, we can try to empathize, and we can try to assist. But don't place judgments on the things that you do or the decisions that you make. You can look back. It's like, why did I make that decision? There's no use judging it after the fact. What good is that going to do? You shouldn't also judge other people's stories, what they've been through, and their experiences. You don't know where somebody's coming from. You don't know what they've been through or what they're currently going through. They could be suffering immensely, but they hide it very well. So you don't want to judge what another person says or does unless it hurts you directly, because there may be something behind that. You need to know why they're acting the way they do, why they're behaving the way they do. Maybe they acted like an asshole with class team. And you're like, man, what's up with that dude? Well, maybe something happened in his family. Maybe there was a death. Maybe he got hurt somehow. Anything can happen. You don't know. The girl next to you may have just been broken up with, or somebody's dog died. You don't know what could be happening. So just be mindful of that as you go forward in life. If you can see on the very bottom here, that's Neo looking at the sign, Tennokonosuke, the Matrix. How your story is created. So your history, where you came from, what town you were born in. If you came from another country, early on at a very young age. Even your family history. That's going to play a part. I'll tell you about mine in just a few minutes. It's going to play a part with who you are. Your cultures, your beliefs, religion, the food you eat in the household, the family members, all that stuff. Very important. Your story is also created through your development. So your childhood, the experiences, the conditions you grew up in. Socioeconomic, physical. What was your environment? Was it very trying? Was it very challenging? Was it privilege? Was it just chaotic because of family members or uncertainty? Always moving, always changing? That says something about who you are right now. That was written into your plot. Passion, purpose, drive. These are the things we start discovering during this process, during this time. Your story is yours. These are the things you can influence. These are the things you can say is important to me. Home, school, work, service. These values of family, health, money, safety. What do you want? What kind of friends are you looking for? What kind of friends can support you? You want to have? What kind of relationships? How do you interact with strangers? I ride the bus to work every day. My God. I've had to have some conversations with people. I was like, yeah, I don't know you from Adam or Eve and stuff, but that was a great conversation. We're like, man, I can't wait to get off this bus. You're still going to be getting in touch with certain characters along the way. Your pets, they shape who we are. You love them, or in cases you hate them, but I've heard some people like, I wish my mom would give her that cat. They're really good cats. I personally own a cat, and I like cats. Music, art, beauty, nature, the things that really inspire us, stir up our emotions. Why is that important to you? You hear that one song, you just can't help but cry. Or get pumped up. Or, get angry. We all have those angry songs, right? You have those? Yeah. Good to get them out that way instead of just, yelling instead of doing it to other persons. This is your plot. You can create it, you can shape it, you can affect it, you can influence it. Don't destroy it. Don't destroy your story. You can always make it better. Rewrite it. Why I like a good story. Like I mentioned earlier, I like to reflect narratives off of my own experiences. Huge fan of The Walking Dead. Who's a Walking Dead fan? You guys are my friends. Whenever you want to talk about it, show, come in the office, we'll chat. Looking forward to the new season. I guess it just got started on Fear the Walking Dead. I should have been doing my homework, but I couldn't stop myself. I don't see that as a zombie show at all. That show is about hard decision making, about morality, about what you need to do in order to survive. Yes. Seriously. What do you do in that situation? You're trapped in a prison, you got zombies coming after you and stuff, and you know somebody is a bad seed and you did something wrong. What do you do? Well, this is survival. This is testing. This is apocalypse and stuff. We're not in that dire situation, but we still face hard decisions all the time. We really do. And we have to make sure that we're making informed decisions with knowledge and precedent. Stories are everywhere. They're ubiquitous. You can always find something to relate to. Shawshank Redemption. Get busy living or get busy dying. Who likes that movie? It's another good movie. That speaks about hope, resilience, grit, putting up the worst possible shit, and you just know you can get through it. I'm serious. You guys are talking about your test right now. You got biochemistry and calculus all in 1 week. That's tough. Can you get through it? What's your resilience going to be like? You're going to show that grit, just do what needs to be done, get it done, maybe sacrifice some things this week, next week, and catch up on that other stuff later. Prioritization, that kind of stuff. I also like stories for inspiration. It's a tough life. That's what I have here. Life can be a struggle. I need more than a kitty did once in a while. So I'll look for a good movie, a good show that really inspires me, says something to me. I put something up here from my childhood, Black Stallion, the original. About a boy and his horse. He rescues a horse that was lost at sea on an island, and they grow up on the island together. And he brings it back to the States. Very inspirational story for me, because I was a young boy when I saw it. A good story is more than the message. Why? Because I mentioned the characters. Characters, you're going to meet again like the weirdos, the eccentrics, your muses, your polar opposites. Earlier it's like, no, you're my Agent Smith, I can't get near you. Something bad's going to happen. You're going to find your soulmate. You're going to find some best friends, your spouses. These are the people, you don't know who you're meeting for the first time. You may know them for the rest of your lives after that chance encounter. So, you guys can just keep y'all listening. I don't know if you're talking about shows or adding other stuff, so I just don't want to be a little too distracted. Game of Thrones. I read all the books before the movies came out. What I loved about them was the characters. Yeah, there's dragons. I love me some dragons, but characters. Each one of these characters has a specific story to tell, and they say it well. Very well acted. And that's what draws you into their story. Is how they're bringing those characters to life. These are actors. These are not real people. And that's why I love acting so much, because they're portraying their message, their story, that character, their values in front of a camera. And that says something. That's powerful storytelling. Method. How do you tell a story? Show of hands. Who likes books? Who likes film? Who likes TV shows, serial shows? Poetry. Music. Story through dance. So you got choices. You got lots of ways to tell a story. I like all of those. But I also like the spoken, oral tradition. You know, I'm sure you've had some grandparents, aunts, uncles. Sit down, let me tell you a story. I love that. It's the oldest traditional way of telling a story. Is by spoken word, even before writing, before people learn to write. This movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey, there's no dialogue the entire first half hour of the movie. None whatsoever. And it covers everything from the start of the Big Bang Theory and all the way to when people start traveling into space in a half hour with no talking. That's craft, to be able to tell a story through a visual medium without saying a single word. And if have you seen this movie, by the way? I shouldn't assume it. It's old, it's 1970s. You guys, yeah, it's deep. You gotta really have a wide open mind sometimes, and when you watch it, I still kind of freak out sometimes when I see it. But it's powerful, it's huge, it's grand in scope. And it's how they do it, the method. It's very important how you tell a story. What about mood? Does this picture tell you anything? Who knows this picture? Last of Us. Yeah. One of my favorite games I ever played. I'm a huge gamer too. I like stories through games. I like exploration RPGs, and I like Fallout 4. You're not going to see me for a while on Fallout 4. I spent once almost 3 weeks of my Christmas vacation before I started grad school. That's when Skyrim came out, and I was playing Fallout 4. I gave up some health, I gave up some commitments and stuff. I just couldn't help myself. I just love immersing myself in a game, and mood helps with that. This game had some wonderful music, some wonderful tone, and some wonderful dialogue. And it's a game. So that's why I like storytelling so much. I love getting immersed in the game. It just transports you to a different place. Your story can do that to other people too. Your story can. Tonight, I hope I can kind of draw you into my world a little bit, because I'm going to start going into a little bit as far as my background and where I came from. I was born in San Antonio, Texas. First grade, I don't know. I pulled it out of a shoebox. I am a twin brother. I'm a twin. I have an identical twin brother who currently lives in New York with his wife. My mom didn't know she was going to have twins. This is before sonograms, and she had no clue. She's very petite, about 5 foot even, and she just thought she had a big baby, I guess. I don't know. The things that I say when I say my mom told me, that's called hearsay. Anybody know what hearsay is? You're getting it from a second source. So I don't know if it's true or not. This isn't what she told me, though. She said she fainted when I was born, and they told her that another baby was coming, but she didn't know she was having twins. So they had a boy's name picked out and a girl's name. I got the boy's name, John Edward, and my brother, they had to run around the hospital and think of a name. I think it was the Feast of St. Michael or something, so they thought of the name Michael. And it's not John and Jim or John and Joe or anything matching like that, because it's kind of a surprise. So it's John and Michael. It's my brother. I am biracial. I am half Hispanic. My parents' names are Mary and Joseph. side complex. My dad is mixed Caucasian, English, Irish, Dutch, German, and one other one that even since last year I can't remember what that one is. I'm trying to remember what my mom told me. For some reason I would think she said Native American, but I don't think that's true. She may have just been wishing. He was from it's either Oklahoma or New Mexico area. I can't remember. I know he lived in one, was born in the other. He was Army. All my uncles were Army on my mom's side too. He never really talked about his childhood or where he came from or his family, so I don't know a lot of detail about it. My mom's name is Maria Socorro Cantu Beltran. And my grandfather, her dad, came from Guadalajara. And my mom said he became a leader. I don't know if that's true, but that's what she told me. So I support undocumented students because of that, because of my family. I went to a small Catholic school on the west side of San Antonio on Bettis Street called Christ the King. And it was all Hispanic. We actually had some Central American students in that place, so I could say Latino as well. It was a very poor school. My brother and I were the only two Güeros. And people made point to it. We didn't know. People would say something. And even other parents would say stuff about my mom. And it was a strange time, my childhood. And I'm really going to run out of time here. I get way too many announcements. So if anybody can stay, I know you guys are studying. I'll also put the video up on the weekly lectures, so whatever I can't finish, you guys can finish it up so you can do the assignments, because I really want you to complete that quick question. So you know everything. It was a poor school. It was pretty much just staying at home most of the time. My mom was very overprotective. We went to the library a lot. I read a lot of books. I started practicing calligraphy at a very young age. It was something for me to do in my room when my parents were doing stuff, and we didn't have neighbors or families to do things, so I was very good at lettering. We did hang out with some friends on the weekends, things like that, every once in a while, but not very much. High school. I'm going to have to breeze through some of this stuff pretty fast. High school, I went to St. Anthony's High School Seminary in San Antonio, Texas, right across the street from Trinity University. Currently it's owned and operated by the University of Incarnate Word. Back then it was run by the Albans of Mary Immaculate, another Catholic school. It was an all-boys school. It was a boarding school. I lived there all 4 years. I only went home on weekends and during summer. That's when I had a weekend job at Swinton's High School. It was a very trying time. I did not like going to school there. Every day we had to do manual labor. We didn't have custodial staff or groundskeepers. We were the ones mowing the lawns, cleaning the toilets. On Tuesday, Thursday it was an hour and a half. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday it was an hour, right before our athletic period. And then we'd have to go run our ass off with the cross-country coach after home at the football field. I asked to leave my junior year. I asked the head priest of the school. I went out. Not because I didn't want to quit school, but I just didn't like the education I was getting. I didn't feel challenged. I wasn't learning. And I asked to leave. He convinced me to stay because I was going to screw up everything for college, and even that I wasn't even thinking about at that time. And they convinced me to stay, so I finished out my senior year. And I'm kind of glad I did, because even though I didn't want to be there, it kind of pushed me to get through a place or something I didn't want to do. I still had to do it. The experience kind of shaped me a little bit as far as my character. I feel like I grew up pretty quickly in that environment. I also, and this is going to be very important in just a second, I also was concerned about my socialization because there wasn't a lot of male role models there. I didn't know what I was going to do as far as finding good male role models. I had to seek some of them out, but there weren't many. And the reason why that's important is because it was an all-boys school. So how else do you think I was not being socialized well? where are the girls? So they were up the hill at Park Word High School, where we had to walk up Hildebrand Avenue in 100-degree weather just to go sneak onto their campus. Or they would come down the hill to us and we would talk across the fence. Yeah. Sometimes we try to sneak them into the dorms. That wasn't always successful because those priests were pretty good. They knew who we were and stuff. So yeah, it was a very challenging time. So when I first started college, I went to St. Mary's University my freshman year. I was sitting in that classroom. I was like, oh my God, college. Oh my God, college. Oh my God, there's girls in the classroom. I didn't know how to behave. I didn't. So that's why that's important. But most importantly, why that was important was because my parents divorced and my dad walked out on us when I was 16. That was my sophomore year in high school. And at that moment in time, I knew I had to become independent. My mom never finished high school. My brother was kind of a rebel. I call him the evil twin. I was pretty much left to my own devices, going to college, figuring out my life, figuring out what it means to be a man, to be masculine, all that stuff. So I had to do something about that. And this is where what Wes Moore talks about, this is where I found my drive. I knew it was up to me at that point forward. I picked up cycling during my childhood. That was my freedom. Even when I was living on campus of high school, the priest, I asked special permission, hey, can I bring my bike and during intramurals, can I just ride it around almost park and near Trinity and stuff? Like, yeah, sure, we trust you. You're a good kid. I'm like, all right, I'd go home and go fall asleep in my real bed and stuff for 2 hours, and then I'd ride back to campus for dinner. This is also where I started kind of having to face my biracial identity. Going to it was very homogenous Hispanic primary school. My high school had a little bit more diversity in there. So I started having to think about that. And I know this is from a movie too. Anybody recognize it? Nice. What tortillas? This is when I started thinking about terminology too. Chicanos, Hispanics, Latinos. So I have a friend from Los Angeles, and he's talking about how some of his friends still, they call him a Chicano. It's not a color, it's the way you think and the way you live. This is me. I was like, why do I look like this? But then I associate with this. I grew up in this family. High school, if you ever want to know, just ask. Anything, that's an individual appointment though. Anything you've ever heard about an all-boys private Catholic boarding school, from every book, movie, anything, it's true. We did everything, we did it all. Starting college, and I'm going to try and get through this pretty quick. My freshman year, around this time for you, in about 3 weeks' time, was Halloween weekend. I was attending St. Mary's University because I had applied to another school in California. I really wanted to fly the nest and leave. Once I knew college was going to be my power, my education, and my means out of the situation in my childhood, I wanted to make it a good one, an adventure. But they screwed up my paperwork and they said, we can't take you until your sophomore year. You deferred admission because there's no housing for you or you can't register for classes anymore. Okay, I'll wait. So I went to St. Mary's my first year. It was Halloween weekend. And some of my friends and my girlfriends decided to just go out on a Friday night, 1 o'clock in the morning or something, just go for a drive, find a deserted area somewhere and just have some fun. You guys know what I'm talking about. We got tired. We stayed there next to the lake pretty late. And then we were driving back. Our friend was driving his Bronco back. And he fell asleep at the wheel and flew through an overpass off a bridge. And I was asleep in the back, stretched out on the back. And there was another girl sitting in the middle seat, my friend, his girlfriend, and the driver, and then my girlfriend in the back as well. I had no seatbelt. Stupid. No seatbelt. First thing I remember is the light coming on inside the cabin, me bouncing all the way up and hitting my head up on the ceiling, and his big spare tire coming down and hitting me on the leg. And as soon as the Bronco hit, all 4 tires blew out, the whole frame shifted, and we skidded down the dry creek bed into some trees and bushes. My friends climbed out in the front, and they climbed all the way up to the overpass back in to see if they could flag their car. The first car they found was a police car. And we got lucky because they pulled over as soon as they saw my friends with the blood all over their faces and stuff. They knew it was a bad accident. So the ambulances came pretty quick. We all got transferred to the hospital. Every doctor, every nurse, every cop said we should all be dead. My friend told me after the fact that he woke up because he didn't hear the noise underneath the wheels anymore on the road. And when he woke up, he saw us flying through the air, just like this. And he was our linebacker in football, so he just shifted his weight on one side and it straightened us out right before we landed. And everybody said, if you had rolled, you wouldn't be alive. You would have been sausage. Because we were just all the glass broke, even when we landed and stuff. The girl that was laying got her knees all sliced up and open. It was a nasty accident. It was awakening for me. That's when I said to myself, I got a second chance. I shouldn't be here right now. I should be dead. This was right before I started college. So I got through my first year of St. Mary's doing what I needed to do. I worked a part-time job as a commuter student, still lived at home. The next year came around and I went to Los Angeles, California to a small private liberal arts college called Loyola Marymount University. Right next to the Pacific Ocean. You can see it right there. Right back, that's all ocean. See the mouse. This was my apartment complex that I lived in. There's the ocean back there. This is our bluff. That's the main quad in the whole area. I knew I had to get busy. I took advantage of everything I could while I was there. I was dropped off by a cab driver 4 days before school started. I had never set foot on that campus, ever. I'd only talked to the people on the phone from admissions, financial aid, student housing, and student affairs. I didn't know where to go. I was scared out of my mind. I was all, it's an adventure when I was leaving, but as soon as I got there, I didn't know anybody. And I knew I had to go out there and call the offices, go visit them, find out what I needed to do. I got to register, I got housing, I got everything worked out. But I was scared. You should always remember, even if you're scared out of your mind, you're never alone. You're never alone. There's always people there to support you, to assist you. I am that person for you this year. So remember that. You want to come to my office, John, I'm scared? Okay, I can relate. So I was heavily involved. I was a tutor at the Learner Resource Center. I was an RA my junior year for an all-male residence hall. But I was out of that situation. I became a resident director my senior year, so I had my own RA staff. I was a TA. I worked 3 jobs on campus almost every year. I never went home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. I couldn't afford it. The jobs that I would work, I'd send back home to my mom so she could pay the property taxes on the house and never lose the house. My brother was at UTSA. He stayed there. But after he saw the experiences I was having there in California, he finally took his adventure, his risk. He went to Colorado. He was working, going to school up there. So I did as much as I could while I was on this campus. And I was rewarded for it. One of the greatest experiences of my life. To this day, it shaped me.